I'm not that upset about it. I'm really not. You know why? Because I'm a big fan of Family Guy, and they have. Am I wrong? Every week. I mean, one of the characters, Joe the cop, is in a wheelchair, and every week there's 20 jokes about him being in a wheelchair, and nobody died. And like, I just think everybody has to, like, lighten up a little. Yeah, it's terrible to be in a wheelchair, but, you know, it's not like it's news to him.
Bill Maher brought Jasmine Crockett onto Real Time with Bill Maher, and it didn't take long before he had to step in and set her straight. This woman was out here making flat-out disgraceful comments about Greg Abbott, specifically mocking him for being in a wheelchair, on live television. And that was just the starting point, because from there the conversation spiraled into a whole collection of takes that Bill Maher simply couldn't let slide. Between her and the other guest, Bill Maher ended up having to check both of them before it was all said and done. So let's get into the clip where Bill Maher confronts Jasmine Crockett head-on over her offensive and embarrassing statements. Let's check it out.
A Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett calling Texas governor, okay, she's from Texas, the governor, Greg Abbott, who is paralyzed and uses a wheelchair. She called him Governor Hot Wheels. What do you think?
Congressperson Crockett is part of the new trend where informality is okay, where formality used to reign. Okay, fine. That's been going on since the 60s. So her routine is that she wants to bring a little bit of what I might quaintly call the ghetto cat fight into these spaces. I get it, you know, bring a blaxploitation movie or something into Congress. Great, work it. But you do not make fun of the fact that somebody lives their life in a wheelchair. That doesn't work. If she thinks that being black and fabulous gives her a pass on that, then she's got a really unfortunate sense of what black is.
Well, what do you think, Ricky?
I think this is just an example of when they go low, we go lower. And the Democratic Party is going to lose if they try to use kind of MAGA world tactics back at them. I think that if the Democrats want to succeed in the future, they need to be the party that is normal, that are stand-up people, that do not take the cheap shots back.
And let's be honest, we are never going to live in a world where the Democrats are the ones taking the moral high ground. That's just not the reality. The left has consistently been the side that goes low, throwing cheap shots, hitting below the belt, doing whatever it takes to tear down the opposition. And look, people will point to registered Republicans being behind certain violent acts. Fine, bring that up. But let's look at the full picture here. The assassination attempts, those are going after right-wing figures and Republican presidents. The firebombing, the riots, the Summer of Love chaos, the entire Antifa movement. Which side was behind all of that? We know the answer. Everyone knows the answer. So this idea that the left is somehow the dignified, principled side of American politics, come on. That narrative doesn't survive 2 minutes of honest scrutiny. The low blow is basically their signature move at this point. And now let's see how Bill Maher responds to that absolutely wild statement from Jasmine Crockett, because this is where it gets really interesting. If you appreciate thoughtful, respectful conversation, please consider subscribing. It's free and your support is truly appreciated.
I don't know. I'm not that upset about it. I'm really not. You know why? Because I'm a big fan of Family Guy, and they have. Am I wrong? Every week. I mean, one of the characters, Joe the cop, is in a wheelchair, and every week there's 20 jokes about him being in a wheelchair, and nobody died. And like, I just think everybody has to, like, lighten up a little. Yeah, it's terrible to be in a wheelchair, but, you know, it's not like it's news to him. I don't know. I'm a free speaker.
I adore Family Guy. I've seen every episode, but that wasn't a cartoon. This is real life, and she was saying it with dismissive hostility, as opposed to the cartoonish, we can get away with it because we're drawn. Jasmine Crockett is not drawn. and neither is Abbott. I see a distinction, although I see what you mean.
Okay. All right. The heads of NPR and PBS testified before Congress this week amid accusations of liberal bias. Should the government continue to send taxpayer dollars to public broadcasters? Well, a little background here. I mean, they've been after them the Republicans have wanted to get rid of PBS for as long as I can remember. This crowd will probably do it. I mean, I also read my namesake, Catherine Maher, was head of NPR, and she said, "We're completely unbiased. Give me a break, lady." I mean, they're crazy far left. So, I mean, I think we're past the age, really, where the government, first of all, why do we need to subsidize? Why can't we have outlets like this? And we're so polarized. These outlets became popular at a time when Republicans and Democrats didn't hate each other and weren't at each other's throats and didn't think each other was an existential threat. In that world, you can't have places like this, I think, anymore. They have to be private.
Yeah, I think Yuri Berliner, ex-NPR employer, his piece this week, where he said that they should just let go of the funding. I love NPR. I listen to NPR almost every day, have since 1975, when my parents used to play it in our Chevrolet Caprice when I was like 9 years old. I love it for its point of view, but since 2020, it has no longer been general. I remember in 2021, my then 9-year-old asked me, and of course she has no sense of context, I don't pump her full of things like this. She said from the back seat in a very different car, she said, "Daddy, why is it that NPR is always playing the same thing?" And I said, "What do you mean the same thing?" And I swear she said, now she doesn't have a vocabulary, but she said, "It's always about how somebody can't do something." And that what she was getting at was that. I wouldn't have said that about the NPR that I knew back in the day, and I wouldn't have said it 10 years ago, but that is what it is now. I will listen to it daily, but it's no longer a general audience venue. They should just give up national funding. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly why every single major news outlet today is pushed hard to one side or the other. Now look, maybe I'm biased, call me out in the comments if you think I'm off base, but it genuinely seems like the outlets leaning left lie significantly more often than the ones leaning right. And I don't think that's necessarily because right-wing media is morally superior. It might just come down to a simple reality. The left has to lie more because the truth doesn't work in their favor. When the facts aren't on your side, you fill the gap with spin. That's just how it works. And here's the thing, even Bill Maher, a guy who has leaned left his entire career, openly admits that left-wing media has become completely unbearable. Even he can't defend it anymore. And it's not just adults noticing. People are saying their own kids are picking up on the relentless negativity pouring out of these outlets, wall-to-wall doom, and it's always aimed at the right. They will never turn that critical lens on their own side because their entire business model depends on keeping their base fired up and loyal. It's not journalism, it's a product, and the product requires deception to keep selling. Because if left-wing media started telling the whole truth consistently, their narrative would fall apart almost immediately. The truth just isn't a great look for them, and deep down, everybody already knows it.
Women giving up on marriage. Really, I swear to God, that's what it says. Why is that directed to you? Are you giving up on marriage? No. Oh, no, you're not.
No, I mean, I think so. I think there's a massive disconnect between the genders in my generation, and young men are going to the right, young women are going to the left.
And honestly, the dating landscape right now is pretty rough. And you can see exactly why. Young women are drifting further and further left, and the entire platform seems to boil down to one thing: abortion access. That's the hill they've chosen to plant their flag on. Meanwhile, guys out here just want something simple: a real relationship, a solid family, someone worth building a life with. And those women are becoming increasingly hard to find. I might have gotten lucky, knock on wood, genuinely not trying to jinx anything. But for most men out there, it's a different story. Because the priority for a lot of these women seems to be curating the perfect social media presence, and that's about it. And look, men are completely reasonable for stepping back from that. Getting into a marriage in today's climate means compromising yourself, respect before you even get started. That's just the reality, and I don't think anyone should have to accept that. Anyway, drop your thoughts in the comments. What did you think about everything Bill Maher had to say about the Democrats and the left-wing media machine? And what about Bill Maher shutting down Jasmine Crockett for those disgraceful comments she made about Greg Abbott and his wheelchair? That moment alone was worth the whole episode. Let me know where you stand on the entire Bill Maher versus the woke left situation. I want to hear from you guys down below.